It's a scratching in my left ear. All right. Well, we'll go with it and see what happens. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Welcome to the new media show. We're back.
Doing the new media show again.
People are actually going to listen to this junk.
We do it live?
We're live right now.
We'll just do it live.
We're going live. We're going live.
We just can't get enough. The new media show.
Let's go.
Just do it live.
We're going live. We're going live. Bada bing, bada boom.
The new media show. We do it live.
Just do it live.
We're going live. We're going live.
We're going live.
The new media show. I'm like Adam Curry and you're more like John C. Dvorak.
I think I am Adam Curry and you're the old curmudgeon.
We do it live. Doing the new media show again.
The new media show.
Technology.
Whew. We make it sound so special. So, Rob, we are back. It feels like we've been off for a long time.
We have been. That's why.
People are wondering what's going on. And we never got an audio or video file from Podcast Movement, so you had to create one. And what'd you do? Score that off YouTube?
I just played it into my Roadcaster and captured it and kind of polished it up a little bit, sent it over to you. So hopefully we at least have an audio version of our Podcast Movement Evolutions episode. Hopefully we'll get a video version of it soon. But in the meantime, you can still watch replay off of newmediashow.com of the video.
That's right. And I did post the audio version just before we started the show. Mm-hmm. And I was rushed on the show notes, so I got to go back and make sure those are clear. And there's some other stuff going on. It's just like the perfect storm today leading up to us being really back here. This is you were off in Portland or Washington or someplace last week, so we couldn't do a show last week.
Yeah, I was up in Seattle.
So you were up there. So we've been off a while, and holy cow. Welcome back, everybody. How you doing?
Well, I mean, to be fair, we did do a new media show episode in LA.
Those that listen the traditional means have been 3 weeks without us. So
they have been a little dry in that RSS.
Yeah, it's been a little crusty. So I published it today, and it's out. And we did the best we can. It's these things that happen when it's amazing. They do these great live events, but when you try to get a media file from them, they're like, "Oh, that's going to be hard." So we can't, we're appreciative that we were able to do the live show, and I think we had a great one.
Yeah, well, and fortunately, these live platforms, like YouTube and Twitter and stuff, capture that and have it on replay. So that's been of help as well with this process.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to get the audio out and get our podcast listeners, because that's the vast majority of folks that listen to this, listen to the audio. Funny how that is.
It's very amazing, isn't it? But
yes.
Yeah, so we've been, as I've told you, I'm just running around here like a chicken with my head cut off. We're, whoever decided to launch 3 new features in 7 days,
Todd,
was an idiot.
You have rocks in your head or something?
You put it on paper. Yeah, Monday you'll be great on that one. Wednesday you'll be great on that one, and then next Monday you'll be good on the third one. No problem. And then your blog post, press release, and everything, capturing the new images and everything else. You're just like, oh my God, what did we do? But
making changes causes changes.
Yeah,
the saying goes, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's all good though. And now you know a little bit of what my life's been like over the last 2 years, trying to make all the changes to Libsyn. So it's crazy.
Yeah, but you guys got 30 people. I don't have that many.
Well,
I've got a handful.
That's true.
So you can delegate. I was running documents through Grammarly 15 minutes ago. So.
Thank goodness for Grammarly. That's all I can say.
Thank goodness. Absolutely. And we've got a copy editor, but, I need to get stuff out this afternoon, and she's not available until 5. So it's just like, okay, let's go.
And Grammarly works pretty good, I have to say. I've had a subscription to that for a couple of years now, and it's come in really handy.
And my little blueberry sign is down because I ran the battery out and didn't charge it, so I can't run it, and so it's just, But I did a show in here on Monday, and everything was fine and working good, and everything's working fine. We're up and running, and stuff is recording, I hope. But yeah, I'm just rushing because my daughter flies in tomorrow morning, and with her husband and the 2 grandbabies. So I got to be in Detroit at 8:00 in the morning to pick them up, and then I'm taking a couple of days off to spend time and be wrestling around and be grandpa. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, just as we were talking about Grammarly, and I know that many people in the podcast industry pull transcripts, right? It's probably a reason why you couldn't try and run a transcript through Grammarly, right? Maybe try and fix it up a little bit in a more rapid rate.
What it will really do is make your brain explode, because it'll
start changing a lot of things.
It'll change a lot of things. It won't just correct.
That's true. It might actually change the words that are used, right?
That's right. It'll have a heyday with your speech, and it'll be like, why? You'd be like, why did I say that to begin with? I could have used this word instead of that word.
Right. It makes you question. Who knows? Maybe it'll make you better.
Oh,
right?
might. That'd be a good exercise to do.
Right. It would be. I was just thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people probably that are tuning into this are curious what our thoughts were about Podcast Movement Evolution's conference and all of the things that were going on down there. And we haven't really had a chance to really talk about that. We didn't really cover it during our episode there either, which we sometimes do, because we dove right into those serious topics.
Yeah. And here's what I'm going to say. We're back, baby. We're back.
It's great.
There was, I would say 1,500. Is that about the right number?
I heard numbers thrown around close to 2,000, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah. So it felt like 1,500. It could have been 2,000. And but here's the main thing. It was a lot of B2B instead of B2P. A business to podcaster. It was business to business. A lot of that. Matter of fact, I've been doing 4.5 hours a day. That's what my Google will tell you now, how many hours you spend in meetings. Have you actually looked at that? I don't know. Is that what you guys use for scheduling? Are you guys on Google Apps?
Yeah.
So
we are. Yeah, I don't really look at that stat.
I'm looking at my calendar, and today I've been in meetings 3.3 hours today. Today was... Yesterday was 3.8. So yeah, a lot of follow up with a lot of different companies that are looking to make a mark and do integrations and all kinds of stuff. But
there's always stuff bubbling. And today was the Podcast Academy Governor's Board meeting.
Oh,
and so that went on for like an hour and a half today.
When are the elections going to be announced?
The winners have already been selected. They haven't been announced yet.
Oh.
Or the new board members might be a better way of saying it.
Do the new board members know they've been selected?
Yes.
They
do. But they're going to not say anything until it's been formally announced.
Oh, of course. So when does that happen?
Tomorrow.
Oh, so we get to find out.
Yep.
All right.
On Thursday. Thursday, it's going to go out in the newsletter, and at that point, then all of the new governors can comment in their own social channels.
All right. Well, good. Right. So look forward to that announcement. I have heard nothing to date. I don't know any information, but there's a couple of people there that I'm hoping get picked up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've seen the list of folks.
Don't get yourself in trouble now.
No, I'm not going to say names. I'm just saying I've seen the list, and it's a good list.
Oh,
I think it's a good addition to the governor's list. I think it'll bring a little different perception, I think, to the Podcast Academy. So that'll be good.
Oh, so I like when you say the word perception.
Yeah, well, I think that's a lot of what concerns the board too. Is that it's perception and reality. perception is driven by reality. So,
right.
so you have to make sure that what you're doing is representing the medium in a way that gives the best perception that is possible, and while at the same time staying on track. I think that the organization is pretty healthy financially and organizationally, and people really thinking about the future of the organization and what its role could be, and making sure, because we're making a transition from kind of like founding board members to representative board members, right? Which is a little bit different composition that will come from the community and less from kind of, I think, the perception of larger companies that we're actually funding the startup of this. It's almost like the board was built around a bunch of VCs to get started with, in some ways, that have kind of invested in getting this thing started. And now it's kind of got its own legs. It's getting sponsorship. It's had a couple of award ceremonies, and it's getting positive feedback on all that. It's not getting any negative ones like certain awards that have happened here recently. So I think it's all looking good. I guess the question gets back to is, when the new governors come in, what role does this organization take in a broader perspective going forward versus what it has done to date, right? So I think that's the question for the new board. And it's also, around, where's the award ceremony going to be held? Is, all those kinds of things, where and when and under what circumstances and things like that are all being thought about right now. So yeah.
I want to share with you a little story.
Okay, please do.
So we were at Podcast Movement Evolutions, and they had some evening parties, which were all very nice. And
the Hall of Fame.
And the what?
And the Hall of Fame.
So, the Hall of Fame party was great.
We'll talk about that too.
So we, one of the parties, they were making you sign in. They're making putting your name, your email address, your affiliation, all these things. So
I think there's a common thread here that you're probably expanding on.
And I signed in as John Smith. Do not spam me at gmail.com. And, and none of your business, couple of things. So that's, and I did that because I know, there's a tendency by certain companies in the space to spam.
Right. And so when we say that's sending unsolicited emails to people that are not expecting them, trying to get people to convert or change their hosts or whatever.
So I was kind of vocal about that.
Right.
And I think someone overheard me because that company spammed the living crap, the absolute living crap out of the entire Blueberry Podcaster. They scraped every Blueberry Podcaster RSS feed and have emailed them multiple times. Come on over. Come on down. Come on over and host your show over here. We're putting millions of dollars in podcasters' pockets and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But I got an email that they screwed up and did not take and modify the template, and it showed the company they were using to generate these emails from.
Oh.
Yes. And I went to that company and because it basically said in that bottom of that email, you subscribe to our newsletter. And then right below that in the email, and I ought to read exactly what it says because it's, let me open up the Slack here because we were talking about it internally today. Let's see here. Let me find it. Because this has some people that are listening to the show are going to giggle. Let me go down here and grab his. So the email said at the bottom, you subscribe to our newsletter via our website at befree.io. Then 2 lines down, it says, please forgive the cold email. This Okay, I'll just say the company. Acast is a podcast company working hard to get the word out about the good things we're building to make podcasts more fun. So in one line, it said, you subscribe to our newsletter via our website, befree.io. And the next 2 lines down, it says, forgive us for the cold email. Well,
Can't have it both ways.
can't have it both ways. And I was absolutely took the opportunity to go over there and share that with befree.io. Let them know that this spammer was saying that I had subscribed, and tens of thousands of others had when they had not. So
That probably violates their terms of service, I would imagine.
maybe.
Maybe a little bit.
But they're probably using this as their templating, and they forgot to remove that from the template.
Right.
And, I've been on Twitter pretty hot heavy about this. It's just, I don't know. It's not classy. I'm not they're well known for doing what they're doing. It's not like this is new news here, but, yeah, I wasn't about to give him my email address and voluntarily give it to him. Then I would be considered not spammed that I had signed. Of course, you didn't agree to sign up to anything. There was no acknowledgement on that sign up form at that party that.
For the event. Right.
That you were signing up to be spammed. They were just collecting your info, and that's the first party ever that I've ever went to where they made you sign in. So I thought it was just a little bit classless, in my opinion. But
so you haven't got an email to that address yet, or are you going to?
Well, I don't have that email list. I said it's somebody that owns don't spam me at gmail.com got the email.
That email address may not exist.
Well, probably does, or someone's going to listen to the show is going to go grab it right now.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so you always got to have a little bit of stuff here to stir the pot with. So,
of course.
But I think I just wonder if they overheard me saying I'm not signing in, and the lady said the guy from Blueberry said we're not. I'm not giving up our information. So they said, oh, we're going to target his company, and they did. They hammered everybody. We here's the crazy part. I had at least.
So you heard from a lot of your podcasters.
Oh hell, yes!
Yeah.
They were pissed. They're like, "What is this company doing? Why are they doing this?" And I said, "I'm not going to tell you what to do, but something that you could consider is just in Gmail, just marking that spam."
True.
And if you do that enough, it
gets blocked.
It gets blocked. Gmail blocks it at the source.
Or it throws it into the spam filter.
That's right. Throws it in the spam bucket. So, if you're listening, Acast, naughty. And that's what all these startups do. All these new podcast startups, they go out and they go out and scrape email addresses. And
this is a reoccurring theme that comes up pretty much every year at some point.
So it's had me thinking.
Yeah.
I think it's time. I think it's time to have an alternate way to validate a show ownership and not have it tied to an email address. I think it's time for the email address to go away from RSS feeds and maybe use a key system, some other way. And I think there's been some discussions about it in the podcast 2.0 space. I have to go look, but I think it's time. And to close, it's not going to stop the addresses they've got already, but over time, those become less valuable. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be, it's something I'm thinking about and thinking about the total ramifications, because there are ramifications of considering doing this.
Right.
So it's going to cause a retool. But the only reason there's an email address in RSS feeds right now is because Apple has the tag.
Yeah.
That's
true.
So otherwise they wouldn't be in there. So we would have had to have come up with something different. And how do you do that? You can put in a book.
We've always recommended, Todd, and I know you probably have too, is that address isn't your primary address.
Right.
It's a secondary address, but it's something you need to check
Check
every once
on
in a
it.
while.
Yeah, check on a regular
Right.
basis. But
Right.
at the same point, the majority of people don't do that. So
Right.
therein lies the question: how do we validate a show? Do we do it through a key system where there's some sort of there's I don't know, there's ways to do it.
Yeah, I think there's only been a couple different ways. I mean, obviously you could, and I'm not recommending this, but you could put a phone number in there, but you could also, and I think, it's been used to capture ownership, right,
Mhm.
of shows in platforms where you are given like a little number,
Right.
6-digit number, and you put it into the
Latest post or something.
the tag in your latest post,
Right.
and that basically associates you
Yeah.
with that platform.
It shows that you've got control of that feed, and
Right.
you are who you say you are. So
Right. I mean, it would be unfortunate that because of spammers, we have to do that, because I think it does give an avenue for the listening platforms to potentially communicate status with their show to the creator, right?
Right.
Which is the unfortunate casualty of this.
But in Apple, like Apple, you get emailed at the address that you submit your show
Right,
under with
right.
with
I mean, it's just another
with
form
podcast.
field
Yeah.
in the submission process. You give them a
Yeah.
different email address,
Right.
Right.
So it's like it's same thing with like Google. My Google email is not what's in my RSS feed, and I had no issues.
Right.
So there's ways to do that. You don't have
Sure.
to, again,
Sure.
we've become way
Sure.
dependent upon that. And unfortunately, there's individuals and companies that
Take advantage of it.
take advantage and think they're above everyone and can do that. So, I had someone in my, I just, let's retaliate. And I'm like, well, what? Then we're just going to be as bad as them if we go scrape their feeds and start emailing their customers. It's not quid pro. It's not going to work, right?
Right.
As much as I'd love to do that, I'm not going to do that, because I would say, Todd, how come you're spamming
Right.
these people? So,
Yeah, you can't stand on moral ground when you're doing the same thing.
you
right?
can't. No, it doesn't work.
It's
and
called hypocrisy. I
and
think
we've
is the
never
word for it. Yeah.
done that,
Right.
and as much as I've wanted to send out mass mailings, we're very, very careful.
Yeah.
The only way if a show gets on our email list is if they've claimed their show at Blueberry and authorized to be part of communications we send them. So
Right. And from a Lipson perspective, we rarely send emails out for anything, actually. So it's kind of just a rare thing that we do for that purpose right there. I mean, sure, we could create an opt-in email list and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff with a newsletter and all this stuff if we chose to, but we respect the time and that our users have. So I'm not going to spam them.
yeah,
Right.
now we've done we do a newsletter, but everybody, we do a monthly
Yeah,
newsletter.
but it's not like, every week or every day or something.
No,
Right,
no.
right.
And matter of fact, you're stupid if you do that, because you're
They're
going
going to read it anyway.
and they're going to unsubscribe there. And when you do need to talk to them, they're going to ignore it.
Right.
So, once a month.
Yeah.
And at the max two times a month. And even then I'm like, have we
That's
sent
pushing it.
Yeah,
Right.
have we sent anything else this month? Can it
Right. And
wait?
it also has to have value to
Right.
somebody too. I mean, how often do we need to utilize email to communicate? That's the other
Yep.
question.
Yep.
Right.
So my May just got a lot bigger. I'm going to be heading down to Outlier in Austin. I'm going to go down
Oh, you
there.
are?
Yep.
That's coming up what? May 2nd through the 4th? Something?
No, Outliers May 5th and 6th, just 2 days.
5th and 6th. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
2 days.
May's going to be quite a
Oh,
action-packed month.
It's going to be, and I've got 3 trips in May. So it's crazy, and
Yeah, I've got 3 too.
so and
Right.
one in, and then we're right up. I looked at the calendar. I'm like, oh my God, it's the 6th. We're going to be leaving for Vegas here in another week and a half. It's crazy.
I know, exactly. It's like back to back. And yeah, I'm going to Sweden too. I'm going to Radio Days Europe.
Nice.
So I'm trying to fit in stopping at the podcast show in London, but
You guys got enough. You guys got enough people. You can stop there. But we have a live event to
well, I'm
do,
going to be
don't we?
over there already, so it's just a matter, stopping on the way back.
Right,
so
right.
that was the idea, and then flying from potentially London into Orlando, try and make it in for Podfest on the 26th.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So and we were a little late booking our hotel rooms so I'm staying somewhere else the night of the 25th.
Oh, you are? Yeah, because I just booked my room down there and I was able to get it at the main hotel.
Yeah, if you book for the 26th, you're good. But if you come in on the 25th,
for the 25th, you can't.
You can't. You got to be in the overflow hotel. So I'll have to change hotels, which will suck. But it's okay.
Got it.
Yeah, I keep trying every day to see if they have cancellations, and I can, if I really push guy status with Hilton, I could preempt and I could get someone to lose their reservation because I'm guaranteed a room at least one night if I push my status, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to stay at their overflow hotel. And
gotcha. Is that pretty close to the main hotel?
No idea. I hope so.
Yeah, I know that those hotels can be quite far apart from each other down there.
And Orlando is a interesting layout, but it's all right. It's good, but so Vegas is fast coming up for NAB, and we're going to be doing the show live there. So do we know a date yet?
No, we don't yet. But likely it'll probably be either the 24th, 25th, or 26th.
Of course, that's one of the 3 days of the event. So
right,
it has to be one of those days.
I've been putting pressure on them because it's hard for me to book any guests if I don't know what day it is. So I've been pushing on them, and I guess they're working on the schedule. So, but hopefully I'll hear in any moment.
If you're going to be at NAB, let Rob know, because we are looking for guests.
Right.
And so if you're going to be there and you want to be on the show, I'm sure there's going to be a few spots. So.
Yeah, I've asked a couple of folks already, but not many of those folks are going to NAB. So that's the rub. So if you're already planning on going to NAB or you want to go to NAB, there could be a spot for you on our show. So
we're not paying airfare. We don't have a budget for a hotel.
We don't have any hotel rooms, right?
No, but it might be able to get you a badge. Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing a roundtable presentation on podcast advertising at the NAB. I think that's on the 25th, I think. But are you doing anything there, Todd, yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I'm just whatever we do together. Then we're only taking 2 people to NAB, so we'll see how the flow is. If podcast movement evolutions is any indication, I'm taking a whole crew to Dallas, because the numbers were pretty. Dan and crew did a good job in LA.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And that place was convenient. You could go get food. Mm-hmm. The hotel food was but there was lots of options outside the hotel.
Yeah, I agree.
And there was it's funny. I got an email from someone that I had a meeting with and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I got COVID." And I said, "Thanks for letting me know. I'm doing good." And then I saw on Twitter that Cridlin got COVID too. So
I didn't catch it as far as I know.
Yeah. So as far as I know, I didn't either. I've been good. No stuffy nose, nothing since I've been back. So. But I don't know where James caught it. Of course, who knows, But
well,
I guess
James was on an airplane for an awful long time getting there. So
the airplanes are, they have
pretty clean.
They have better filtration than anything. But you are sitting, 3 inches away from somebody else for 12 hours or whatever, 15 or 18 or whatever it may be.
That's true.
Unless you're
That's
up in first class and you're in like a laydown or something, and you have a little more privacy. But
So, Todd, given our perception that this podcast movement in LA was kind of a B2B event, I didn't see a lot or hear or speak to a lot of new podcasters at that event.
No.
So I just wonder if that is I guess trying to recruit new podcasters, that's not a great event, but to do kind of business deals with larger entities in the space, it's a pretty good event to go to. I'm just curious what the composition of the Dallas event is going to be. If it's going to be a little bit more, if it's going to be bigger, then why would Dallas be bigger than Evolutions? Is my question. Is it just because it's central in the U.S.?
I think it's the main show. I think it's their.
Well, it is, but I mean, at the end of the day, and I kind of wonder about this. What makes Evolutions really a smaller event as you look to the future, as opposed to the main event?
Yeah.
So, do people prioritize the main event to go to, but they don't prioritize Evolutions? That's the only answer I can come up with.
Most of the people I talked to were California centric.
Right. So it's more localized. And It's a
Yeah.
little bit like Podfest. Podfest tends to cater to kind of that southeast part of the country and pull the majority of people from that region. Right.
But I think what I saw was, and you can tell the money's here because,
Yeah.
Megaphone had this big mega suite, and it looked like what you would see at CES, where Sony would have their their sidebar, and only the elite get in. They got a guy there checking names and stuff, and you got an appointment. And no, you can't come in. One of those types of things.
Right.
So in off-site meetings and stuff like that, which I've never seen before at a podcast event happen at Podcast Movement Evolutions. In fact, got to spend quite a bit of time with some Apple folks. I can't say anything about that at all. So for the first time ever in my life, I'm under an NDA. So with them
and former Apple folks,
former Apple folks
were scattered around in the community too.
Yeah.
So it was there was quite a few people there from Apple. So
I think overall and boy, I tell you, the company that got the worst beat up, and I'm tell you what, there is a love, and I'm going to say this in a big word, hate relationship with Spotify. Oh my goodness. Oh, and not only that, some panic by some content creators based upon some of their latest acquisitions.
Right.
And concern that Spotify is becoming the big brother, is going to know everything about audiences.
And iHeart had a big presence there too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think the acquisition that has kind of rocked the industry is the pod sites and Chartable thing, right?
Yeah.
It's got everybody kind of scrambling for alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
But this really, I think in a lot of ways, the big buzz coming out of this event was really around YouTube, right?
Big nothing hamburger.
Well, the YouTube session that was a big nothing burger, correct? But and I think we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it to some degree, but is it because we have an expectation that there should have been something more talked about YouTube that was, or is it just...
There was nothing promised, but I think we were kind of expecting there would be something. It ended up being just this absolutely boring, boring, boring dialogue.
Right.
That was between a YouTuber and some dude at YouTube.
And I'm sure that person was very much a podcaster either. So
I saw this big herd of people come out of the session, and I'm like, anything news, and everyone's giving us a thumbs down,
It's like nothing.
Right. So people were highly disappointed by what was not announced. And then, of course, Cridlin broke news about gotten access to a document that he probably shouldn't have had access to, and
Right.
I read through that. That's interesting. So,
Yeah, I mean, it makes logical sense that there's something coming from these folks, and it's not announced yet, whatever it is, and but it does make sense that something is coming over there. Because I did notice that the podcast show in London, it has a whole session there that is sponsored by YouTube. So they're one of the major sponsors of that event, and they're doing a whole, I don't know if it's a track or a session themed on that's sponsored by YouTube. So I thought that was an interesting change and an interesting development, where YouTube is starting to really do more at these podcasting conferences. So it'll be interesting.
yeah. But I think the kind of even like Nashville was good to sit down and do some face to face. And matter of fact, I was kind of funny. I did a face to face with one company, and I said, first thing I asked them, so you're not getting bought by Libsyn, are you?
Yeah, everybody's like, I think I had a fair amount of popularity at Podcast Movement, and it's mainly from startups wanting to be acquired.
Yeah. So I was like, before we continue our conversation, because if you are, I don't want to talk. But if you're not getting acquired by them, then we can continue the conversation. And,
Right.
and they're like, no, not at all. We don't want to be acquired. I'm like, oh, it's good. Let's go.
Right. We can always hire us. Right.
Oh my gosh.
So
So you were being hit up for some millions of dollars by startups that think we will be a good fit for Libsyn.
Well,
right?
that's been going on for a while now. So
oh my gosh.
it wasn't anything tremendously special at Podcast Movement, but there are a lot of new companies being birthed.
Yeah.
Doing a bunch of different things. I don't know if you looked at this platform called Adori Labs, but it's doing some interesting things around generating videos out of audio. So for YouTube, that seems to be a hot topic right now.
The company that I was most intrigued with, I didn't think they had a booth. Maybe they did. 2 Cents. They got an app, and they're doing some interesting things there. I think that it has potential if podcasters realize what could be accomplished on there. They might direct some audience over to using that app. But
right.
So I was quite impressed with that group.
Yeah, I think that there's some new apps that are being formed that are, and I think we've been talking about this to some degree on the show for many months, is this little bit of verticalization of kind of either social interactive features, maybe more of a focus on specific genres of content to build app ecosystems around. I think an interesting example is the Good Pods platform, which is a little bit more generic, but then there's examples of like the Sheconomy folks that is focused on female creators, and then so you have kind of these app listening platforms that are being created to cater to specific niche audiences that is forming. Plus, some of these companies are thinking that if they build a ecosystem that does what I consider sometimes to be more of a feature than a business. And this has been a common thread that's been going on for a long time, around visual presentations of advertising in the app while you're listening to a podcast. I don't know how many times we've seen startups try that and fail, but those kind of things keep coming up because people think that it's a new idea because they haven't heard of it before. So, but yeah.
So, and there's, obviously lots of other stuff going on in watching the news space, but things have cooled a little bit.
Well, I think you saw it in the research that
Yeah.
Edison presented.
Yeah.
You know, the listening is down from 2020, 2021.
Mhm. But
It's up compared to prior to the pandemic.
Right.
Which
But
I think that was interesting.
because people are getting back to their
More normal
to their
stuff.
lives,
Right.
and things are
But-
having to do things that require you to go outside.
Yeah, while at the same time, this is kind of an interesting time. While at the same time, we're seeing a new spike in COVID cases again, coming from another variant, right? So
I have heard nothing about that. I don't watch news, so I don't care.
Yeah. So, but I think the bottom line is nobody's really paying attention to it anymore, because it's like, is everybody concerned about catching a cold? Because that's kind of what it's the equivalent to.
Well, be careful now, Rob. We might just get censored for putting out bad information here. So we are not doctors.
Hey, Todd, we have to worry less about that with Twitter now, so we're good.
Hey,
right?
no, there's a man that put his money where his
mouth was, right?
Absolutely. That,
Right.
and he got a board seat too immediately.
Well,
Immediately.
that actually makes a lot of sense when you own almost 10% of Twitter, right?
That's right. So you have to, someone said to me, they were in my Geek News Slack group. They said, let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. Where was it? Something about Elon Musk being crazy. He said, I can't find it.
No, he's crazy like a fox is what I would call him.
Well, here's the thing. This guy, there's people that actually don't like Elon Musk at all, but you can be pretty bold when you have that big of a bank account, and you can do stuff. If you don't put risk, if you're not willing to risk and put stuff out there like Starlink, that was a huge risk, huge gamble. And I think he's ultimately going to do very, very without Tesla. Again, a huge, huge, huge risk. And ultimately, they'll have ups and downs, just like any other company. But this guy, when he figures out that he wants to do something and make change, he does it. And I have to, he's either a genius or he's a time traveler and knows something that we don't know.
Well, he's actually doing what people have always said, is that, folks that think about the future need to primarily think that if they want a future, they need to make it, not just talk about it, right?
Yeah, here's what one of the folks in our chat said, not our chat, my Geek News Central chat. He says, is it just me, or is Elon Musk becoming your typical Bond villain? Total arrogance, check. Army of drone vehicles, Teslas, check. Array of orbiting satellites, Starlink, check. Mouthpiece to broadcast his nefarious needs to the world, Twitter, check. Just imagine the carnage if every Tesla was instructed to crash into the next car coming, or every Starlink was to crash into another satellite. Chaos. Blah, blah, blah. So, there was some extreme comments there, but
right.
But okay. Good on him.
I don't see him sitting in a big chair petting a white cat.
No, I don't think so.
Having this, this thing going on.
So, okay, you can't beat him, join him.
Right.
Right. So you can't build your own social platform. Can't beat him. So, I got how many hundreds of billions laying around? Let's take 3 billion and just go ahead and buy 10% of Twitter, because then I can make changes. You know what one of his first tweets was about Twitter?
What's that?
He asked, do we need an edit button? So I thought, yes, we do. But my point is, we should have an edit button that'll allow you to make edits for the first 3 to 5 minutes. Because I've done that. I've typed something and I've had to delete the tweet and then repost it. If I could just make a little tweak to and keep a history of what I changed, I think that's a good thing,
Well, I
So
think when Facebook first launched, I'm trying to remember back. I think you could edit
you still
your
can.
post. No, you
Oh,
could edit your post up to the point when someone made a comment
oh,
or liked it. Then that turned off, right? So you
mm,
had this window that you could edit it before there was any kind of audience interaction, right? And I
hmm.
don't know if that was triggered based on the availability in the platform to other viewers, or if that was, but I do remember that. And now it's like you can edit anytime,
No, you
right?
can't edit anytime. If you're
Yeah,
running
you
an
can. I thought so.
ad, you can't
Oh,
edit.
okay.
So,
If
so
you're
yeah,
doing it as a sponsored post, is that
yeah.
what you're
You
saying?
have to stop the
Okay.
ad campaign, then you can
Yep.
edit, and then you can restart the campaign because they go
Got
back
it.
through and do a reapproval of the ad.
Got it. But if you're just doing an organic post,
Right. You can edit.
I think you can edit anytime.
And it does show your edits. It shows there's an edit history, so you can actually
Right.
see what was edited.
Mhm.
So,
So, yeah.
but so I thought, okay, so he's thinking about what he's going to go back to the board and say, okay, you will implement an edit button, or at least they'll have a conversation about it.
Yeah, and I sent a tweet to Elon directly asking him and they should build a podcast listening platform directly into their car OS that they have. So
Into
into their car.
oh
Yeah, I have a Model 3, so they don't have a podcast listening app built into the car's operating system yet. So it's only pulling podcasts through Spotify and TuneIn currently. So you have to log into those platforms in order to get podcasts in your car.
I got you.
So
Well, that's why you have your phone and Bluetooth.
that's how you connect to your OS is through Bluetooth in
Right.
that car. So yeah. Yep. There's no, as far as I know, I don't think there's a direct wire connection you can make and like pull in Apple, CarPlay or any of that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right.
So anyway,
There-
but yeah. So any other observations out of podcast movement?
No
can
one
think
no one hangs out and has cocktails like they used to. Not too much stuff has
Well,
happened.
the composition of the community is different now, Todd.
No, that's true.
There's a lot of new people in the medium.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't really know each other.
No, not at all.
And that's one thing that has been missing over the last 2 years is that this medium has grown and developed dramatically with the amount of people involved in it. But yet there hasn't been venues for people to build community.
Right. And I think maybe they don't need to build community with podcasters. Maybe they're thinking we're more worried about building community with their audiences. But
that's what's going to be interesting about the Dallas event is that the Dallas event, the regular podcast movement event, has always been a little bit stronger on the indie side.
yeah,
Right. New podcasters, that kind of thing. And it's also going to be fascinating to see what's going to happen at Podfest because Podfest, as we both know, is very strong on the indie side, very strong on new podcasters coming in there trying to learn the medium.
Yeah.
Much more so than Evolutions.
has for sure.
Right. Or even Podcast Movement, the main event. So it'll be interesting if the Podfest scales as big or bigger than Podcast Movement. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But we're ramped up to we're full swing mode right now and getting ready for events. So it's the big I hate to say it, but I have low expectations for NAB.
Yeah, I do too. Thank goodness we're getting up on stage on the live stream with this show.
Yeah, and
there's not much attention to podcasting at that event.
Nope, and I'm going to be, we're going to be, we're working to just draw people in, trying to do our best to suck people into the booth and set up.
Yeah, did I hear you
appointments and
say
that
that
kind of stuff.
you're reaching out to the media that's attending, because I know you can get a list
Yep.
of the media folks, and we were looking at trying to do that too, to at least let the media know that we're there, right? And to also point to the various podcasting topic areas at the event.
But the challenge is the media is there to listen to announcements. They're looking
That's
for
true.
announcements.
That's
So if you're not announcing something, you really don't have a reason
Right.
for the media to, like, why do I want to cover you? You're not announcing something cool,
Right.
and that's not an event where we go to make announcements. We go to Podcast Movement to make announcements. That's where
Yeah.
our event is, to make announcements, or
That's
Podfest or something
right.
like that.
Right. And also wanted to mention too that the Ambies at Podcast Movement Evolutions went off fantastic. It had like 350 people in attendance, so it was a real world event. I've only gotten really good feedback from the event overall. And then the Hall of Fame happened on the 26th, which also has gotten a lot of positive feedback too. I mean, a lot of the stories that were told by those podcasters that got added to the Hall of Fame really gave a lot of depth and context to what it's like to be a podcaster, and what it's been like to over many years to be a podcaster, and what it's meant to them. And it really, Todd, I know you saw it too. I mean, it was really an interesting perspective, more from an indie perspective, on why podcasting exists.
Mm-hmm.
And how these people actually did what they did and why they did it. I thought it was very interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those situations where I think just events overall are going to come back, and just like, maybe next year your Ambies will be bigger. Maybe you'll have a bigger group of people that will be able to attend. Who knows?
Yeah, right. I would hope so. And eventually maybe it gets on television or something, or if television is even relevant by then.
Right.
Right. As we see, YouTube is kind of taking over, it seems like.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, if you're seeing that as well.
Yeah. I'm slightly distracted. My team just released something, and they said, "Go look," and I'm looking.
You're looking. Yeah. Those are top secret?
No, it's basically, well, you can't see it. It's our new audience survey graphical report is online now.
Oh, okay.
So
the survey that we talked about, I think, in the last episode?
Yeah, so
right.
Again, I haven't run a survey in a while, so this gives you some clue here.
Kind of like the report of the results, right?
Yeah, so your top listener profile, 67% of your listeners filled out this survey and identified as a man. Economic demographics, 64% of your listeners are full-time workers. 48.62% have a bachelor's degree. 76% are homeowners. 19% of your listeners rent a home. 65.2% of your listeners have no kids at home. What else here? 24% of my listeners make over $75,000. Highest number of listeners, 18% of your listeners regularly listen to 3 to 5 shows. What else? That's, that, and it just basically, it graphically shows this on the page. So, yeah, this is beautiful. So, well, I have to run a new survey. We'll have to run one from this show. Matter of fact, here we go.
Should.
Here's the pitch. In the show notes today, there will be a link for you to take a survey of telling us who you are. And in a couple of weeks, we'll share that after we get enough data that's come in so that you can see this. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you wanted to go see the Hall of Fame replay, video. It's currently up on YouTube right now. So if you haven't had a chance to take an hour or so and watch the speeches that were given by the inductees, I think it's very informative, and I think a lot of new podcasters would probably benefit from hearing some of those discussions in there.
All right. Well, that's a good pitch. Maybe you can send me the link to that, and I can put it in the show
Well, if you
notes.
just type in, I think it's Podcast Hall of Fame speech 2022. I think, or Podcast Hall of Fame 2022 in YouTube. I think you should be able to find it.
Oh, okay. I did a Google search. I found, isn't that interesting?
Would you find another event or something?
No, I found our blog post about it. Let me go over, because I'm logged in. I'm not in a window that is usually when you search for your own stuff, unless you're in an incognito window, it's going to rank you much higher. Oh, there you go. So I found it. Oh, so you guys got it on the Libsyn channel. Well, I see how that is. So Podcast Hall of Fame ceremony. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So 950 views. So come on, let's drive that number up. Go watch that. There's, here's what I'll say about the Podcast Hall of Fame. There was no collusion. There was no, you guys did not tell the people that were speaking what to speak on.
Not at all.
But if you listen, now listen, everybody, if you listen to those speeches, it would almost be a podcast. The stories they told. Each one, and they kind of interconnected pretty significantly to one another. And yeah, that's worth 58 minutes of your time, just hearing those stories. So I kind of wish we would have had more. I'm sure you gave people guidance on what to talk, just, the subject title. But
no, we just told them that they had 5 minutes.
Had 5 minutes, and
they could talk about whatever they wanted to talk about.
And they came up with their own. My God, how did that? It just sequenced out. So
they're all podcasters. They all know how to talk.
Well, I know. I understand that. But each of them brought a different perspective.
Yeah, they did. It was almost like it was coordinated.
It felt that way.
I know, but I don't think so. I thought it was interesting, too, because both Rob Walsh and I got up and talked for a few minutes, too. And both Rob and I both didn't collaborate on what we were going to talk about. So it isn't like he was going to talk about this and I was going to talk about that. It was like we actually, any kind of speech that I had pulled together myself was almost like duplicated to what Rob was going to talk about. So at the event, I thought, well, I was just going to listen to what Rob Walsh had to say, and then I was just going to take it from there, right?
Right.
So I didn't have a prepared comments at all. It was all just walking up and just like we do on this show. It's all off the cuff.
But when I was inducted, I don't remember having this big, long, this story. It was almost like every podcaster told a story in their 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was almost like they were, I agree with you, Todd. I think it was, Evo Terra posted his speech off of his podcastpontifications.com site. So he pulled the audio out of the stream and posted it as a separate post. I'm sure he probably posted it to his podcast feed too. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Evo told, his motivations and his story and that kind of stuff. And a lot of them did that, and I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, I think it was. So and I'll put the link up to the YouTube video, so make sure you just go listen. The stories are, I probably only knew half of these people.
Right.
And knew of them. I knew of all of them except for one. The one gal I did not know, but everyone else I knew. And so
you're talking about Ginger from Brain Science?
I know Ginger. Ginger's okay.
She's been around
a long time.
Right.
No Ginger. But yeah, it was interesting, and it was the perspective then from was it George? What is his name? I'm being horrible here. Let me see if I can find his name in your notes. I'm gonna have to go over to the website.
Yeah, I'm there.
It was the story that Glenn Washington.
Glenn Washington from Snap Judgment.
Oh,
Right. I know.
oh, what a story!
Yeah.
You know, it was really it was a great story. And then Molly
Well,
and
Dave Slusher.
yeah,
I mean, he told. I mean, this guy Dave Slusher, he goes back further than I do.
yeah. He's
as
the
far
number
as-
4 podcaster.
Right. I mean, he was very early days.
Very early. Well, by like 2 weeks from all of us.
Yeah,
so.
right. Well, back in those days, 1 week mattered back then, right?
You know, but the only gal I wasn't familiar with was Nikayla. Nikayla's,
right.
yeah, from Side Hustle
Yeah, I think
Pro.
she was probably the newest podcaster in the list.
Right.
Yeah, I think she started in like 2016, 2017. So, but the rest of them, boy,
Yeah.
they've been around
And
for
I
a long time.
had not been aware that Dr. Campbell or Virginia, I didn't realize, or
Right.
most people know her by Ginger. I didn't realize she'd lost her husband. You know, there was a whole bunch of stuff there that
Right.
was like, whoa, wow, whoa, my goodness. And she really, I think she hit the nail on the head about monetization and
Right.
if you're chasing money, that's
That's not the right
it's
motivation.
not the right motivation. I really I resonated with what she had to say, and Dave too. Dave brought some stuff out that about the soul of podcasting, and
Yeah, and on this show we talk about the culture of podcasting, and I think this slate really
oh my goodness,
was a terrific example
Oh.
of what podcasting is really all about.
home run, absolutely home
Right.
run.
Right.
So if you
And then the sheer talent of Molly Wood is
Oh.
I mean, she's outstanding.
and the
person.
whole stack.
Right.
Fantastic content creators, fantastic storytellers, and if you really think about it, there's really only 1 or 2 in here that had any true like big media background. Dr. Emily had media background.
Yeah, but she started very humbly too. In
That's
the beginning,
true. She
but
did.
Yeah.
And Glenn and Molly, but Glenn had his own challenges and things they were doing, and
Right.
but yeah, it was a very, you couldn't have. What did I say to you immediately following the show? I said we need to take these speeches and make them a podcast.
Right.
They're
I agree.
Take out all the other stuff, tuck up you and Rob, and the introductions were good too. The introductions actually were pretty extensive
Right.
in their own right.
Yep.
And
I agree.
So I guess we're bemoaning what we already know, but I'm just saying here to the listening audience, you got to go over and listen to these stories.
So as we think about the 2023 Hall of Fame inductees, I think we've got a huge list,
Huge.
and there's definitely more names that need to be added to that list.
Well, we ought to twist, we ought to twist the podcast movement, folks. Number 1, the Podcast Hall of Fame, Dan, listen, Dan, if you're listening, the Podcast Hall of Fame needs to be in the main event, not at Evolutions.
Right.
Needs to be at the main event. Number 1.
Right.
So let's move it to Dallas. Let's do another round this summer. Libsyn will write another check, no problem.
I thought you were going to step up.
Yeah,
too.
we will.
Okay. all
Let's do another round this summer, or come back. I don't want to wait a year and a half. That's my problem.
Right. What's a year?
Yeah, a year plus, year and some months. But let's not do it at Evolutions. Let's do it in the main event.
Right.
That's where this deserves to be.
Right.
And let's put it in a big room. in the big room, big stage.
Big stage, right?
Yeah.
And
Speaking of the big stage, another nothing hamburger was in my opinion, was the comedian Will Ferrell.
We've talked about Will a lot here over the years.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, I listened to. Here's the thing. I got up early, got my coffee, got some food. Actually went to breakfast, and then I finished up breakfast. I told him on a schedule. I rushed to listen to Cridlin's give his podcast report. And then they brought on, they only gave Cridlin like 10 minutes. He needed 20.
Right.
And then they brought out somebody from iHeart or whoever.
Connell Byrne, right.
And Will Ferrell.
Right. Yeah. Well, and he didn't talk really much at all about podcasting either. That's the thing. I mean, it really reminded me of many radio events, conferences, sessions that I've been to when talent comes up on stage. They're not really podcasters, so they have really nothing to talk about.
Yeah,
when it comes to podcasting.
Right.
So all they do is tell jokes and joke around, and I saw that happen so many times at radio conferences when talent got up on stage. Is that people were there to hear about radio, but they weren't there to talk about radio. They were there to talk about their latest movie or something, right?
Yeah. And then of course, I don't remember being told. Tom, I'm sure, has told me. We're talking about Tom Webster. In fact, hang on here.
Don't eat me, Tom Webster.
So, maybe Tom told me this, but somehow maybe I'm having a senior moment. It slipped my mind. Do you know one of the first podcasts he listened to? Geek News Central.
Oh, okay.
Early on, he attributes that to basically getting him interested in podcasting. He said that on Twitter the other day, and I was like, "What? Really?"
Yeah,
so,
didn't he say something like that up on stage a couple of years ago?
Maybe, but I guess in my stupidity, I just didn't.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He mentioned this show.
Yeah.
Up on stage. Right.
So when he
ago.
said that on Twitter, I was like, really? And he's probably told me that, but probably I've had 3 cocktails in my hand and don't remember the next morning. But it's one of those things like, wow, that was kind of a cool acknowledgement. So he's going to say, I already told you that, but so thanks, Tom. I just took me 5 times to get it through my head. But, him doing his presentation for Edison the day before the event kind of officially took off, that was great too.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said to me, I always wondered if Tom was scripted. And, well, we all know he's not scripted. He just knows his shit.
I'm sure he practices his jokes.
Probably.
I can see him doing that.
But he knows that
It's
report.
all good.
Yeah,
it's all about putting on a good performance. But in a lot of ways, I think Tom he's just naturally a funny person. He's a funny guy, and he looks at the world kind of a little differently than the rest of us, which puts him in a very entertaining kind of perspective.
So Tom, do you practice your presentation? That's the question.
Oh, I think he does.
I think he reviews the slides to get his key talking points in, but I don't know if he practices.
I can see him. He's a consummate professional, so I can see him practicing.
Yeah, maybe, but I think he's just got good talent. I think he can.
He's definitely got talent.
He can just. I think he can okay, give me the slides. And he works on them, so it's like he does. It's not like he
tried
doesn't.
to get Tom to our event, the NAB. He wasn't going, so he couldn't join us.
We'll have to have him on the show here soon, and
there's a couple of folks that we're going to have on the show here soon too. Like Mr. James Boggs has said he's going to join us.
Yeah.
Too.
So we ought to take some time. I don't know what do we got left today. We don't have enough time today, but we should spend some time and go over the masterpiece Edison research share of ear
document.
Document. Yeah. and go over and talk about that. But
Well, maybe we should bring Tom on to
yeah, and kind of
talk about that a little bit
some
more.
of it. Yep. But you know,
Yeah.
it was pretty straightforward. But I'm going to tell you, you know, again, and Dave Jackson, bless his heart, I had told Dave about this phenomenon with TikTok being a time machine,
Right.
and he made the mistake of opening an account,
Right.
and he tweeted, "I was right. They had created
Yeah.
a time machine."
Yeah, I opened an account too, and I got sucked into it too.
So, you know, I had to laugh. So I said, you have to wean yourself of, you know, you have to set yourself limits, or you're going to wake up. Well, not wake up. You're going to find yourself at 3:00 in the morning thinking, where did the past 5 hours go?
Yeah, it kind of needs like a sleep timer or something
Yeah,
built into it, right?
Yeah, it needs like a timeout thing. You've been on this
Right.
thing for 2 hours. You're being put in TikTok timeout.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but TikTok is, you know, really exploded. And I tell you, to be honest with you want to see what's going on in Ukraine. Oh,
Yeah, I created an account in there
Yeah.
and posted a video.
There you go.
So I'm not going to be left out. I've had 600 people watch my video.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
good.
That's a big number. My biggest one was, well, let me see. Here's the thing about TikTok you got to be careful of. Okay, see, 696 is my biggest one so far. So
Oh, that's good.
not bad. But I've only got only four posts on mine.
I've
Yeah.
only got one. So,
the
I'm a newbie.
Yeah, I'm still a newbie. I don't do stuff for TikTok too much. But it's. Do you want to see what's going on in Ukraine? That's where to go to watch. By the way, I sent you a text, so
You did?
not possible, huh? For the subject I sent you, huh? He can't get out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The last that I heard was that it's a visa issue for some of his family. So can't get out of there because the U.S. embassy it's not really active there.
I would just leave and then beg forgiveness. I'd figure it out on the other end.
Well, I know that some people are leaving Russia right now. I mean, a lot of people
Well,
that are against the conflict over there. I guess it's against the law to even use the word war over there.
Right, it is. And, you know, you don't want to be an IT guy or a programmer or anything and leave the country right now because they are detaining that talent or making it very hard for them to leave. Or
I hadn't heard that. That's interesting.
That was something over on TechCrunch the other day. They were talking about that. So they're going through their phones. So, you know, so you best be deleting all your apps and your messaging history and all that before you try to leave the border.
Wow. Yeah. Things are getting serious over there.
Well, it's that dictator needs to pay for his sins.
I'm just not sure that I fully understand why all this is happening right now. So
yeah, because you got a lunatic in charge. That's what's wrong.
Yeah, but why didn't he do it before now? What is it about now?
I have my prediction, but I'm not going to talk about it on the show.
You're not? Okay, fair enough. So, okay. Yeah.
So
is there anything else that has percoled up while we've been, delinquent in our task here of covering the topics?
There's been a lot, but it's just, I don't know if we need to go through everything. It's it's a stack of stuff that's happened here, and lots of news, obviously, that's going on. But I think the eyes are now on the London show. See how that's going to go,
right?
So I mean, if you go over there and take some swag with you, make sure you hand out some new media stickers while you're over there.
Well, send me some. I don't even have any.
Oh my gosh! Well, you'll have to give me your new super secret address that you're at.
Oh, okay.
So when are you
send you a text?
When are you going to reach out to Audimute and get yourself some sound conditioning panels installed in that equi room you're in?
soon.
Okay.
Very soon. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I need to do something here.
Yeah. Reach out to Kevin over there at Automute. He'll hook you up. So tell him.
Well,
Todd,
send me his contact info,
well,
his email or something.
I'll do that. And
Okay.
he'll get you. You probably have to send him some pictures of the room, and then he'll make some suggestions. And you can get them
Okay.
styled. You can actually be
Wow, I can have
stylish. You don't.
style in here?
Yeah. Well, see,
Wow,
like
that'd
look,
be
that's
something.
just like back here, how it's styled. It doesn't look like there's audio conditioning.
Well, as you can see, I've been busy with my colors and
You got the LED thing going on.
putting things up, and at least trying to make it look a little bit presentable.
What is besides the Libsyn sign on the bottom? It looks like a monitor or something. What is that thing that's on the shelf?
It's actually a clock.
Oh, because you can't see. You tell it's something
know,
digital.
It's too far away. It's a clock that tells the time in text.
Oh,
So it changes the words on it to describe the time.
oh, okay. That's definitely something a Libsyn employee needs because you can't read the real time, right?
Right,
So,
I can't read the dial.
the dial. You have to use the
beyond my
words.
comprehension, right? I'm like a millennial, right? I can't read a dial watch anymore. It has to be digital,
Right.
right? So
yeah. All right, so yeah, I don't really have a lot to talk about on what's going on in the news. If you want to stay abreast of what's going on in the news, subscribe to Pod News. If you want your daily take on it, then come back to see us later, and we'll give you our unfiltered response to those. And but yeah, lots happening. It's just biz. I really need about 10 more people, but unlike Libsyn, we don't have $42 million in the bank or whatever it is, so I can't hire 10 more.
We have $42 million in the bank.
I don't know.
Boy.
You guys have some.
Boy, I need to get busy.
You guys have some ridiculous number of cash in the bank, so
Right. Yeah.
I don't think it's that much, but yeah,
I don't think it's that much.
You got
either.
more than anybody else. Well, who knows? Spotify. Yeah, that's the question.
I haven't worked for Podbean, so
No, you haven't. You
I haven't worked for Buzzsprout.
You live in the wrong country to work for Podbean, so
that's true.
Yeah.
Or Castbox, but Castbox isn't really a hosting platform.
No.
So, but anyway, that's a different topic
Yes.
entirely.
Yes, it is. So, all right, everyone. I guess we'll get out of here then.
Well, we made it pretty much down to the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, we did.
Made it.
We're about 4 minutes short, but we're not out of here yet. For those of you that are Blueberry customers, go check your audience profile out in your stats. So it they just cut it loose. So
Awesome.
And again, if you're a listener of this show, which you are because you're listening to me talk right now, duh. I'll have that audience survey link in, and we'll see who this audience really is.
Right. Please respond.
Yeah, I would like to get about 1,000 of you to respond to that.
Plus, keep in mind, we're going to be doing this show live on stage at the NAB. It's going to be on the main NAB show live stage. So we're kind of getting front and center treatment for this show.
That's actually pretty big.
Yeah.
Now, where's that main stage going to be? Do we know what hall?
It's in the main entrance lobby, right next to the C hall, right?
Oh, right next to Central, right out in the main. Wow, well, big time Charlie Brown there.
Well, that's where they've usually held the NAB live show.
Yeah. So
is right in that main lobby area that kind of goes in between the C and B.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Central and North.
And North, right.
Yeah,
correct. Right.
But our booth, you and I both
West.
are going to be in West, which is about a 30-minute walk.
What?
Oh yeah. You West is like You know that
I thought
parking.
West was in the parking lot
Yeah,
across
yeah. But guess what?
from North Hall.
That's right. But you have to. The entrance to West is halfway down that road. You can't get to it like you come out of North Hall and come across the bridge. The entrance
Right.
isn't there. It's a half mile
Beyond that.
beyond that. So
Wow.
you are literally, I'm not 30. You're probably, to leave our booth to get to that location is a good 20 minutes.
20-minute walk.
At least 20, 25-minute hump.
So where are you staying?
We're staying at Flamingo. I don't normally tell because I've had people come knock on my door before, but we're staying
I
at
don't know how they're
Flamingo.
going to find you in the Flamingo.
Well, they don't give out names, thank goodness, but yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be staying right next to the convention center at that. Was it West Gate?
Yeah, you are going to be, you're staying at Westgate.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
That'll be close to
old
everything.
Hilton. Yeah.
The old Hilton, yes. Yep.
Yep.
So I
So-
got a spot there.
Mackenzie picks out where we stay when we go to that show.
She
So- dislikes
dislikes flamingos, I'm sure.
Well,
is
she
the reason.
dislikes Fremont Street, so
But
but I'm going to drag her down there and see the new hotel down there. So maybe
Well,
next year she'll book us down there.
Well, the flamingo's off of the strip.
Yeah,
not off-
Flamingo's off the strip. That's why I say
Right.
she doesn't like Fremont Street. That's why we're at the
she doesn't
Flamingo.
like Fremont Street.
But
Okay.
also the Flamingo's close to the monorail. But the
It
problem,
is.
is, the monorail doesn't go to West. You
It
know,
doesn't?
no,
it goes to the main conference center.
right. And I don't know if it stops at Westgate or not, but I don't think so. But we'll have to
So you got
experiment
a
with that.
long walk ahead of you then.
I'm just going to Uber, or I'm not going to probably take the monorail
Oh, you're not. Okay.
because
Yeah.
you get to the front. Because even if you get off the monorail, it's still going to be a 20 or 25-minute walk
Right.
to get
Right.
into West. Because you have to go down, come across, then you're going to go through Central, then you got to get to North, then you got to go upstairs, then you got to go all the way across. Yeah,
Right.
they didn't make the entrance. That was the stupidest thing ever. Why they did that? But what they made West was a convention center and a convention center. So it's like it's got a grand entrance. It looks beautiful up front, but it's
Mhm.
right smack in the middle of that street. That's God knows how long. It used to be a parking lot.
Right. That's true. I've walked that street a few times over
Yep.
the years.
And you go up and down, up and down, up and down on escalators and stuff to get in there. But okay, we're enough talking
Yep.
about Vegas. As soon as we get some dates, we'll let everybody know. It'll be
Yeah.
on the tweet stream. And again, if you're coming to NAB, let us know. I'm
Yep.
I'm Todd at blueberry.com. Blueberry without the matter of fact, we tried to find E's. They're at $1.2 million right now for the E's.
Ooh, the E's? Oh,
The
you did?
We went looking
Oh,
for the
wow.
E's on April's Fools to see if we could find them, and we didn't. We did find them, but they were $1.2 million to add the E's into Blueberry. So we are
Wow.
still BLUBRRY.com. I'm at
Wow.
Geek News on Twitter. Rob?
Yeah, I can be found on Twitter as well at Rob Greenlee, and there's plenty of E's there, but I didn't have to pay 1.2 million for them. So, but anyway, I can be reached at robg@libsyn.com. Send me an email. Let me know if you're going to be in Vegas. Maybe we can do like a little meetup, Todd, too.
Yeah, that's true, too.
If there's going to be folks there.
And Westgate's a great place to do a meetup. They got a great bar for a meetup, so maybe we can do it
That's
there.
true. That's true.
So take the survey. Survey be in the show notes. You got to go to newmediashow.com to find the survey when the post is up. So please do that. We thank you for your taking your 60 seconds to fill out our demographic survey. To
Wow,
let us,
that's quick.
yeah,
that's
that's
quick.
That's fast. We don't want to waste
Yeah.
people's time.
Right.
It's very
In
valuable.
and out.
Anyways,
Right.
Everyone, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time on the show. Everyone, take care. Be safe. Watch out.
Bye.